I've been down here 30 years and I haven't seen this as bad as it is right now.
Hurricane Sandy roars ashore, packing powerful winds and sideways rain.
We're live there with the very latest.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is Channel 8 News Now at 6.
Thanks for joining us. The entire northeast United States is being pummeled by Sandy, which is now a post-tropical cyclone.
8 News Now is live with Duarte Geraldino in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware.
It's no longer raining here in Delaware, but it's very windy still. Officials are encouraging everyone to stay inside because this remains a very threatening weather system. Sandy is pounding the Jersey Shore, ripping up the historic boardwalk in Atlantic City and sending waves crashing over seawalls. Meteorologists predict it could be one of the most destructive storms to hit the Northeast in modern history.
This is not a time to be stupid. This is a time to try to save yourself and your family.
Sandy is heading inland, packing winds of over 80 miles an hour, gusts in the triple digits. The storm's landfall will coincide with high tide and then join forces with two other weather systems to create a superstorm.
This is going to be a big storm. It's going to be a difficult storm.
Hundreds of thousands of people have been ordered to evacuate, but for some, it may be too late.
I didn't think it was going to be this bad. You know, I left the last time.
Out in the Atlantic, the Coast Guard plucked more than a dozen people from the waters off North Carolina. The crew members of the ship, the HMS Bounty, put on orange survival suits and life jackets after Sandy forced them to abandon ship. This is what's left of a fence surrounding dunes here along Rehoboth Beach, but hurricane-charged waves appear to be ripping it out of the sand. Sandy is also stretching 800 miles inland, dumping snow in West Virginia. Millions are hunkered down because traveling anywhere is almost impossible. Mass transit along the Northeast Corridor has come to a grinding halt, and most flights are canceled. Already, tens of thousands have lost power, and with the storm expected to linger for another 2 to 3 days, that number will only rise. Even before Sandy hit U.S. shore, she was labeled as a deadly storm. We have a confirmed case here in our area. Maryland officials say a car skidded on wet roads, and there is now one casualty. In Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, Duarte Geraldino, back to you.
Thanks, Duarte.
Massive floodings being reported in areas of Manhattan. Reports of cars even being washed away from their parking spots. And many areas now just waiting for Sandy's real effects to hit them.
Darren Miller is in the Weather Center with the latest on Sandy's track.
All right, so there it is, Frankenstorm. Pretty amazing storm to see a hurricane with snow actually back towards the western portions of Virginia. And this is no longer a hurricane, so that's the great news. Now, it made landfall about 2 hours ago along the New Jersey coast there. You can see what's left of it now. It's just a remnant low. So this airflow pressure is going to stick around for several more days. It begins to move inland, so the storm begins to weaken. In fact, the winds right now are clocked at 80 miles per hour. But again, the concern really is a storm surge up towards New York, extending all the way up towards Boston and all the way down towards Virginia as well. You can see some snow back towards the west there. So we got Hurricane Sandy out of the way. It's now just an airflow pressure. It's going to stick around for several more days. How about our forecast here? Looking very nice. We'll take a look at the 7-day here in a few minutes. And we'll take another look at Sandy here in a few minutes as well. Dave, back to you for right now.
Thanks, Darren. All major U.S. stock markets will be closed again tomorrow. The first time that happened, 1888, when weather forced a multi-day closure. The stock markets were closed today first as a precaution and to protect workers, but earlier today officials decided to keep the markets closed for a second day. Areas around the financial district in Lower Manhattan are part of a mandatory evacuation zone, so officials did not want to chance anything. City National Bank's regional executive Larry Charlton says there could be some down days as the markets reopen later this week, but he advises people not to be too concerned.
Because most financial advisors will be telling their clients, don't overreact to this. It's just a, an act of God. It's something that has happened that will, should not impact their overall strategies at all.
Back in 1888, the New York Stock Exchange was closed because of a blizzard that left drifts as high as 40 feet. In September 2001, the markets remained closed for 4 days following the terrorist attacks.
Red Cross volunteers are canvassing the coast, bringing much-needed relief to evacuees. Cassandra Garcia spoke to the Southern Nevada chapter of the Red Cross and has the latest on their efforts.
As Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast, the Red Cross was prepared to safely house thousands. More than 3,200 people in 9 states spent last night in shelters. Thousands of volunteers, including a handful from Las Vegas, are on the ground distributing food and providing shelter.
So we are making sure that everyone has a safe place to sleep, everyone has hot food, and that's what the Red Cross is there to do.
Among the many who are having to ride out the storm, North Las Vegas PD's Public Information Officer, Tim Bedwell. He joined us on the phone from a FEMA emergency training class in Emmitsburg, Maryland.
I think the irony of it is that we're going to do a mock incident command where we're going to be dealing with a hurricane when there's actually a hurricane going on.
The FEMA training is designed to create better communication between governments and the public during a range of emergencies from fires to hurricanes.
I think the good thing about this is that we bring home a little better understanding of how to get information out to the public, in times of crisis where it's very important for the public to get information early.
Bedwell said they were prepared to take shelter themselves if conditions worsen. The biggest issues facing hurricane victims right now are flooding, power outages, and shelter. 112 Red Cross shelters are set up from New York to Virginia to help out. Cassandra Garcia, 8 News Now.
Blood drives along the East Coast were canceled due to the storm, and the Red Cross says there is a need for blood donors. If you would like to help, you can make a monetary donation here or find a location to donate blood online at the Red Cross website. Find it online. Just go to our website, 8newsnow.com, and look for the keyword Red Cross.
Another developing story this evening, Metro Police investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting. Police say 3 officers shot and killed a man they say shot a homeless man near Desert Inn and Eastern. The homeless man was taken to a hospital, and it's not known yet what type of injuries being treated for. Shortly after that shooting, officers started chasing the gunman, and when he pulled out a gun, 3 officers fired.
Well, obviously the officers in this circumstance knew that we had a subject who did have a firearm, who had used violence against another person, and so their awareness is much more heightened at that point.
The officers who shot the gunman will be placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. Nevadans are paying some of the nation's lowest taxes. A nonpartisan think tank found the Silver State has the nation's 9th lowest state and local taxes in 2010. The Tax Foundation found Nevadans are taxed on just 8% of their income. The national average stands at about 10%. New York was found to have the highest tax burden at 12.8%. The Tax Foundation says our low tax burden is due in part to having no corporate income tax and also the lack of a state income tax.
A $40 million system may have been a waste. The fears police officers are having with a new radio system and the decision Metro is being forced to make.
It's been more than a year since 8 News Now first exposed problems with Metro's $40 million police radio system. With dropped calls, dead zones, and audio problems, officers feared their safety could be compromised. As Aaron Drawhorn reports, Metro is giving up on the system.
In this digital age, the sophisticated $40 million radio system known as Open Sky, or locally Desert Sky, was designed to improve police communications. Harris Corporation bragged LVMPD's Open Sky radio system has all bets covered. But after 2 years of transmission trouble, all bets are off.
We have a functioning system. Okay, is it functioning to the standard that we desire? No. Is it functioning to a public safety standard? No. It's working in our everyday aspects of the job, but in emergency critical situations, it's left to some desire.
Officers or dispatchers talking over the radio couldn't always hear each other. Officers suddenly were dealing with distorted audio, blown out levels, and being denied access to the radio if someone else was speaking.
We have concerns for the officer safety being compromised. We do not want to be put in that situation.
Commissioner Steve Sisolak, who sits on the Metro Fiscal Affairs Committee, wants to know why Desert Sky didn't deliver.
The system was advertised as one thing and it's not performing the way they advertised it. I don't think the taxpayer should have to bear the brunt of that.
Other cities, too, have had issues with Open Sky. Soon, $40 million later, most of this system will be a closed chapter at Metro. Aaron Drawhorn, 8 News Now.
And Metro is still negotiating with Harris Corporation, which says it remains committed to working with Metro about the department's needs. Metro plans to continue to use Open Sky for data transmissions. The department is currently looking at a federal standards radio system that has worked well in other cities. As for the $40 million radio system, Commissioner Sisolak says a legal remedy may be in order.
Multi-million-dollar elections. The I-Team's Steve Sebelius exposes the massive amounts of cash being spent by outsiders on local races.
You're watching 8 News Now at 6 with Dave Courvoisier and Paula Francis. The news for Southern Nevada is now.
As a swing state, Nevada's seen more political ads than just about anywhere else.
And most of these ads are paid for by outside groups, which aren't supposed to be affiliated with candidates or campaigns. The I-Team's Steve Sebelius is here with that story.
Well, anybody who watches a lot of TV knows there's a lot of ads. We hope all our viewers do. How many ads? Well, nationwide, super PACs, parties, and other groups have spent more than $1 billion so far this year. And in just the top 3 federal races here in Nevada, outside groups have spent more than $32 million this year, and most of that is for ads attacking somebody. In the brutal U.S. Senate race between Democrat Shelley Berkeley and Republican Dean Heller, more than $22 million has been spent. $11 million of that was against Heller, and another $8.9 million against Berkeley. The top spender in that race, Crossroads GPS, Karl Rove-affiliated PAC that keeps its donors secret. Republican and Democratic Party committees are also big donors. Heller may be wishing he'd accepted an offer from Berkeley last year to reject all outside spending. Berkeley's offer was rebuffed after Heller countered with a suggestion of his own: reject all non-Nevada donations in the race. In a 3rd congressional district where $5.2 million has been spent, both Republican incumbent Joe Heck and Democratic challenger John Oseguera have been battered with ads to the tune of about $2.3 million each. Conservative and liberal groups make up most of the top 5 spenders. And in the 4th congressional district race between Democrat Stephen Horsford and Republican Danny Tarkanian, $4.8 million has been spent, mostly in attacks on Horsford. Crossroads GPS ranks in the top spenders in that race, too. Add it all up, and the $32.9 million spent so far in this race is enough to buy every man, woman, and child in the state of Nevada 3.5 delicious In-N-Out double hamburgers. And given what I'm hearing, most TV viewers had a choice between the ads and In-N-Out. They'd opt for the burgers.
Does that come with fries?
That's just the burger. Okay. I could do the numbers on the meal, though.
I would like that, yeah.
Oh, we'll be back on Wednesday with that.
Okay, who's giving all the money?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. There's a gentleman by the name of Sheldon Adelson and his wife Miriam Adelson. They're the top individual donors to all super PACs with a total of $53 million, outpacing everybody else. The closest competitor, $23 million.
That's
so Sheldon Adelson has made a name for himself.
Started way back in the primary.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you add it all up, $53 million bucks. That's a lot of In-N-Out burgers too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
See you Wednesday.
From Channel 8 News Now, this is Neighborhood Weather with Darren Miller.
Hey, good evening. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for all those people along the East Coast that they're dealing with what's left of what was once Hurricane Sandy. We'll take a look at that radar here in a few seconds. Still getting pounded with rain and very high winds and storm surge. So look at us, though. Absolutely beautiful outside. You got to be jealous there. The high today was 80 degrees. That's still about 5 degrees above normal. And we've got a nice little 7-day forecast that calls for highs in the 80s and highs in the 70s as well. We're currently at 73 out the Strip. So if you're heading out the door right now, it's nice and quiet out there. You got a lot of 70s here. East Domingo, 75. West Charlotte County, you're at 73. Fort Apache, a little bit cooler. You're in the upper 60s. We'll head out towards the west here. You can see West Domingo towards the Meadows Mall at 74. Again, this is about right where we should be. The normal high, again, is 75 degrees. So Searchlight, you're at 72. Indian Springs, you're in the upper 60s. And you head all the way down towards Sandy Valley. The current temperature at 74 degrees. Now, the official high today was 80, so that's still 5 degrees above where we really should be. Sunset time's occurring now at 5:48. And tomorrow morning sunrise will happen at 7:01. So here's a look at what's left of Hurricane Sandy. Now it's just an airflow pressure, but still going to produce a lot of rain up and down the eastern seaboard for the next several days. So if you're heading over towards New York, over towards New Jersey, you probably want to stay away from that area because this is going to produce a lot of rain, more storm surge, winds up near 30, 40 miles per hour, off and on rain here for another couple of days here. Even though it's not a hurricane anymore, this low is still going to be in trouble for them for the next several days. For For us, though, high pressure in control. So tomorrow, forecasting a high of 81, maybe a little bit warmer for us on Halloween with a high of 82. And then this front here will move through as we head towards Thursday. That'll cool us down a tad, back to highs only in the mid to upper 70s. So 52 for an overnight low by tomorrow morning. The forecast tomorrow looks very nice with a high of 81 degrees. And a quick look at the 7-day forecast. 81 tomorrow, 82 on Halloween. Then we cool down a little bit. And by the way, next Sunday is daylight savings times. We'll turn back the clocks an hour and gain an hour of sleep. That'll happen at 2 a.m. in the morning. Have a great night. Dave and Paula, back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Darren.
Chris is here talking about our football.
That's right, the Rebel football program. I know what you're thinking. One word to describe UNLV's football team. My word might be different than yours. Plus, how ugly was the overnight celebration for the San Francisco Giants? Also, who won the big China showdown duel between Tiger and Rory? More next here on 8 News Now.
From Channel 8 News Now, sports with Chris Matthews.
Got him looking, and the Giants have won it all.
All right, with the bat resting on his shoulder, Miguel Cabrera watches his season come to an end. Thousands of Giants fans watching and celebrating back home. The Giants sweep the Tigers. For the most part, celebrations didn't turn into any widespread mayhem. Few fires, but nothing major now. But the city will hold a major parade for the world champs. The team arrived this morning. Prep's already underway for Wednesday's downtown victory celebration. There's often used words floating around now to describe the UNLV football program, a word that could have meant something very different between success, a successful season, and one that spiraled into a one-win season. Who knows better than internationally known expert Siri on what troubles UNLV has had so far this season? So we decided to go straight to the expert. Siri, in one word, describe UNLV's 1-8 season.
Inconsistent.
Boy, she's brilliant. That sums it up.
Yeah, it's something that we struggled with this year, being consistent, but it's just, I mean, kind of like you said, a play here, a play there.
Change a few plays here and there, and UNLV could, and I hope you're sitting down, could be playing out these last 4 games with hopes of a bowl game on the line. But here's the issue.
Like, we can't keep giving up these big plays and stuff. I mean, that's part of the game, but that does come from, like, experience and just knowing where you're supposed to be.
Just a few things I can think back to that kind of have changed, you know, certain games or, like, in the grand scheme of things, our season.
All right, some golf now. The dream matchup took place in China. Exhibition match between Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. Big gallery on hand to watch these guys go toe-to-toe for 18 holes. They're going to think Tiger Woods wins all the majors with shots like this one, but in the end, Rory beats Tiger by 1 stroke.
So Rory, would this be like a little preview of what's going to happen next year at the majors? Both of you will be just a showdown at all 4 majors. Would you like to see that?
I hope so, yeah. I mean, it would be great. You know, personally, I'd love to get in contention for a few of the majors next year, and, you know, I'm sure Tiger feels the same way, so.
You know, that nervous laugh. Maybe not.
Yeah, really. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Well, getting out of town's getting easier. The head-to-head competition British Airways is launching in Las Vegas.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is Channel 8 News Now at 6.
Superstorm Sandy is not just causing major damage and delaying flights. Tonight at 11, we'll show you how the storm might also be affecting your bottom line at the pump. Plus, tablet wars, which sleek small computer will give you the best bang for your buck this holiday season.
Well, now there's a new way to get out of town. British Airways launched a new route today from London's Gatwick Airport to Las Vegas. Flights will operate on Monday, Wednesdays, Saturdays. The Las Vegas Visitors and Convention Authority says the new flight will carry an economic impact of more than $41 million every year. British Airways has daily flights to Heathrow. The new route will compete head-to-head with Virgin Atlantic's daily flight to Gatwick. And thanks for watching 8 News Now at 6. We're always on at 8newsnow.com, Facebook, and Twitter.
Have a good evening and join us again at 11.